Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee. My name is Kari Gunderson, and I'm delighted to serve as your worship associate today, and to welcome you fully into this space. We welcome all genders, sexualities, ages, races, ethnicities, histories, and bodies here. We welcome your mind, your heart, and your spirit. We welcome all you are bringing with you today and all your heart longs to set down. We welcome all of you. We extend a special welcome to each guest among us. Guests are warmly invited to attend the Inquirer session today, immediately after the service in the parlor, to learn more about Unitarian Universalism and our church in a small, casual gathering. We invite our guests to fill out a welcome card located in the pew rack in front of you and to drop it into the offering plate later in the service. You can also pick up a welcome packet at the back of the sanctuary. Hearing assist devices also and Braille hymnals are there. A fragrance-free area is on the right front of the sanctuary. Immediately following the service, everyone is invited for coffee and conversation and more today in the common room. My name is Kari. You can come talk to me at the guest table there. I invite you to explore the announcements insert for the numerous opportunities available here. In particular, please join us in the common room today after the service for a gratitude and farewell reception for Cammie Thomas, our interim religious education coordinator. There will be food. We honor Cammie and thank her for her many contributions to our religious education program and to our community as a whole. Before summer sweeps you away, stop by the religious education table today during coffee hour to apply to volunteer for children's religious education for next year. Our program will explore the concept of love with stories and activities. This is your chance to develop relationships across generational differences and to work with our new Director of Religious Education, Kimberly Tomskak Carlson. Our Theme Circle Facilitator application deadline has been extended till next Sunday, June 9th. Are you feeling called to the ministry of creating a trusting space for reflecting on monthly worship themes in a small group? Then please consider applying. Submit your application online or contact Reverend Dina with questions. And next Sunday, we will begin our summer schedule of single 10 o'clock services. There's more in the insert. Finally, please silence electronic devices for the rest of the service. Again, I welcome you to First Church by inviting you to join me in the unison reading of our mission, printed in your order of service. We gather to nurture the spirit, engage the mind, and inspire actions. Our chalice lighters today are Vera and Ben Lafort. They will come up.
These opening words are adapted from a poem by Mary Oliver called Why I Wake Early. Hello, sun in my face. Hello, you who make the morning and spread it over the fields and into the faces of the tulips and the nodding morning glories, and into the windows of even the miserable. Hello, dear star, that just happens to be where you are in the universe, to keep us from ever darkness, to ease us with warm touching, to hold us in the great hands of light. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Watch now how I start the day in happiness, in kindness. Will the flower bearers please come forward? With the flowers. It's the simple details that matter. Will you rise in body or spirit to sing "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple"? It's number 16, and we'll sing it through 3 times.
Good morning. The story I have for you today is When the Wind Stops by Charlotte Zolotow. The great bright yellow sun had shone all day, and now the day was coming to an end. The light in the sky changed from blue to pink to a strange dusky purple. The sun sank lower in the long hanging clouds. The little boy was sorry to see the day end. He and his friend had played in the garden. They were tired of playing. They lay down in the grass and felt the sun on them, warm and soft like a sleepy cat resting. There had been icy lemonade in the afternoon while they drank under the pear tree. And the little boy's father read him a story on the porch before he went to bed. Now his mother came to say goodnight. "Why does the day have to end?" he asked her. "So night can begin," she said. "Look," and she pointed out the window where high in a darkening sky, behind the branches of the pear tree, the little boy could see a pale sliver of moon. "That's the night beginning," his mother said, resting her hand on his shoulder. "The night with the moon and the stars and the darkness for you to dream in." "But where does the sun go when the day ends?" the little boy asked. "The day doesn't end," said his mother. "It begins somewhere else. The sun will be shining there when night begins here. Nothing ends." "Nothing?" the little boy asked. "Nothing," his mother said. "It begins in another place or in a different way." The little boy lay in bed and his mother sat beside him. "Well, where does the wind go when it stops?" "It blows away to make trees dance somewhere else." "Well, what about the dandelion fluff? Where does it go when it blows away?" "It carries the seed of new dandelions to someone else's lawn." "Where does the mountain go after the top?" "Down to where it becomes the valley." "Well, what about the waves when they break on the sand?" "Sucked back into the sea to make new waves." "Okay, where does the rain go when the storm is over?" "Goes back into the clouds to make other storms." "And where do the clouds go when they move across the sky?" "They go to make shade somewhere else." "And the leaves in the forest, when they turn color and fall?" "They go into the ground to become part of new trees with new leaves." "But when the leaves fall, that is the end of something," the little boy said. "It's the end of autumn." "Yes," his mother said, "and the end of autumn is when winter begins." "And the end of winter?" the little boy asked. "The end of winter, when the snow melts and the birds come back, is the beginning of spring," his mother said. The little boy smiled. "It really does go on and on, huh? Nothing ends." He looked out at the sky. The sun was gone completely. The lovely pink clouds had disappeared. The sky was dark and purple-black. High above the branches of the pear tree shone clearly now a thin new moon. "Today is over," his mother said. "It's time for sleep. And tomorrow morning, when you awake, the moon will begin a night far away, and the sun will be here to begin a new day."
Cami, our wise interim religious education coordinator who tells us the story of her own departure. But why does the day have to end, Cami? Congregation, sadly, our time with our amazing and wise RE coordinator is coming to an end. Cami's going to be leaving us on August 4th, so we have the summer with her, but this is our last two-service Sunday together. this day is coming to an end. In your orders of service, I have printed a responsive reading so that you all can participate in the farewell to Cammie today. In addition to coming to the reception after the service. Cammie, we accept your departure as our interim religious education coordinator. In your year with us, you have shared your wisdom, your sense of humor, and your commitment to our children and our youth.
We are grateful for your commitment.
You've been with us in a transitional year in religious education, and you've helped steady us, approaching all this change with grace and with ease and even with a little laughter.
We are grateful for your grace while swimming in change.
Cammie, your clarity and your wisdom have inspired us. As you leave the role of First Church's RE coordinator on August 4th this summer, we send our gratitude and our affection with you as you go. We are cheering you on as you begin the day somewhere else, as you continue to bless the world with your work for healthy babies and mothers, for nurtured children and communities, just as you have blessed us in your year with us.
We are grateful for your blessings.
So as Cammie goes forth carrying with her the seeds to plant in someone else's yard, we want to give you a small gift in addition to our blessings. So this chalice was made by our children and our youth, and it has their fingerprints on it, so that as you go forward, you carry with us the symbol of our faith and some of the embodiments of our folks here. Thank you. Thank you all. Today's service is a multi-generational service, so everyone's going to stay in the service the whole time, but we're going to sing another round of It's a Gift to Be Simple. So will you rise in body or spirit for one more verse of A Gift to Be Simple? I am sorry to share the news with you that one of our members has died. On Wednesday, May 29th, Bob Teska died of a sudden heart attack while walking near his home. Several strangers rushed to help him, amazingly, including an emergency room doctor who directed chest compressions, but sadly they were not able to revive Bob after he collapsed. Bob turned 70 years old this May, and he and his wife Eileen have been members here for a year, though Bob has been singing in our choir for nearly 3. Our choir members wanted to dedicate their performance to him today. Eileen welcomes emails and Facebook messages at this time, but please no cards or phone calls or food. Details about a memorial service for Bob will be forthcoming, and memorial donations in his name can be made to the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee or to Versiti, which is the blood center of Wisconsin that directs organ donations. Thus, as is our tradition in this congregation, whenever we have a birth, an adoption, or a death among our members, we light our candle of life. Today, in honor of Bob Teska. Will you join me now in a time of contemplation, which will be followed by silence, followed by the seated singing of Spirit of Life. Spirit of Life, Holy One of our being and our becoming, that which is sacred within, among and beyond us. May we take the time today to notice what really matters. May we see the blossoms of the rose, the delicate petals of the lily, smell the heavy fragrance of the warming, wet earth. May the budding green on trees and new soft leaves blink sunlight at us, flecking our faces with warmth. May we feel a kind hand in our own, a loving arm slung around our shoulder. May we notice one another's faces. Eyes laughing joy or leaking sorrow. May we really see one another. May we feel this life. Hear the birds joyfully calling for another day, singing out morning, noon, and dusk. May we hear and see and feel and smell and taste this world today. May we witness what is and pay homage to what matters. May it be so.
when I am among the trees, especially the willow and the honey locust. Equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me, the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches and they call again. "It's simple," they say, "and you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine."
Well, I am grateful that we have a little bit of sun for our flower ceremony this morning. The flower ceremony that we'll do in a little bit dates back to 1923 to the Unitarian minister Norbert Čapek, who developed it for his congregation in Prague in Czechoslovakia. It's a ceremony that is based on beauty and uniqueness and the natural world, so I was crossing my fingers that we would have something that looked like spring today. The Wisconsin weather seems to be taunting us, soaking us with beauty and then dousing us in rain on a repeat cycle. Sometimes those ups and downs feel like a mirror for our lives right now. Gorgeous blossoming and bedraggled loss. The trees call to us to slow down and witness. Henry David Thoreau wrote, "I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived." How do we do that, though? How do we take our hurried, chock-full lives and simplify? This past winter, Marie Kondo burst back into American culture with her Netflix special about simplifying called Tidying Up with Marie Kondo, based on the 2014 release of her book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. Kondo's KonMarie method simplifies by inviting people to go through all of their stuff and get rid of everything that doesn't spark joy. The method has people hold every single object in their hands and ask themselves, does this thing bring me joy? Predictably, in a consumer culture whose life systems are rooted deeply in capitalism, this has provoked some rather extreme reactions. Some people have experienced it as life-changing magic. Other folks have said that having so much stuff to throw away is itself elitist privilege. Others have reacted to gender roles and sexism in the show, while still others have recognized the extreme backlash against Kondo as racist, sexist reactions to a successful woman of color. I am sure that there are deep and passionate feelings in this room about Marie Kondo. You are a passionate people. However, I suspect that some of these passionate reactions are stand-ins for reactions to the systems that Marie Kondo is engaging with, rather than herself. The most controversial episode in progressive circles, anyway, was the episode in which Kondo encourages a young couple to clean out their book collection of any books that do not spark joy, with a goal of getting down to 30 books total. She even suggested that if only parts of a book sparked joy, you tear those parts out. Now, for a bibliophile like me, 30 books in the house is not the correct number. I grew up in a house piled with books, and I'm happy to say that my house now is running out of shelves. My own mother, the retired librarian, is better at managing books than I am. She gets books from the library and then she returns them. It's not for me. But this is where simplifying returns us to asking questions about meaning. Meaning. And that's why I think that Marie Kondo gets such pushback. She challenges us to interrogate the meaning that we make out of material objects. What do those books mean to me? Are they sitting there as an obligation, waiting to be read like a literary to-do list on my coffee table? Are they a symbol of my intellect? A way to surround myself with feel-good representations of how smart I am or might become? Are they an attachment to the times and the places that those books came from? The theology book that changed my life, the novel that opened me up to forgiveness. Why is it that I have a visceral reaction to getting rid of some of my books? Of course, as a preacher, there is some simple practicality. I use the books as references for sermons, I promise. But as a human, books bring me joy. They bring me great pleasure in the reading and in the reflection on them. I love having them around. And in the KonMari method, that's actually the point. Does this thing spark joy? If the answer is yes, go ahead and keep it. Kondo is asking folks to recenter joy in their lives rather than stuff. Centering joy instead of stuff is a radical, even destabilizing concept, calling us to reprioritize the non-material aspects of life, things like relationship, creativity, the body, this living earth. With the KonMari method, it's a bit of a refracting prism because it heads towards simplicity through materiality. It asks us to shift priorities away from stuff by really focusing on that stuff for a little while. But the ultimate goal is less stuff, more simplicity, focus and centering on joy as the priority. And when the stuff goes, when the noise of it dies down, there's more room for the non-material. Simplicity is a tool, it's a practice to clear out the excess material in order to be able to focus on Thoreau's essential facts of life. Simplicity is a way to go to the woods, to dial down the frenetic busyness and be present to what matters most. Our American culture can be a satisfaction chaser through material goods as well as through busyness. Buy this next product and you will finally be satisfied. Achieve this next goal and you will finally be satisfied. Do this next self-improvement activity, the KonMari method even, and you will finally be satisfied. Stephen Jenkinson, a theologian, author, storyteller who has worked extensively with people who have come to die, writes that contentment is not the key to joy. He writes, "The devotion to personal contentment is the depression machine, because it whispers to you that happiness should be the discernible consequence of you winning, of you trying hard, of your best intent being at the forefront of all your design. And a lot of people in the world ancestrally knew long ago that being content or that sense of well-being is a consequence of your willingness to help the world live. That your happiness, and actually let me change happiness to health, that your health is related to the health of everything around you. Simplifying must be more than a personal satisfaction project, more than another self-improvement to do. Simplifying done well removes excess detritus so that we can focus on what's really important. Real happiness, joy, comes from connecting personal satisfaction with the health and the well-being of the world, or as Frederick Buechner said, that place where our deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. Ridding yourself of excess material objects that are not part of your aliveness is one move towards that kind of connected joy. Not participating in the capitalism factory that moves you to buy things you don't need in the first place is a bigger move towards that kind of joy. Shifting to a culture that's built on bird song and clean water and healthy, nurtured people of all races, ages, and economic capacities is an even bigger move towards that joy. In making successive moves towards simplicity, we must keep asking ourselves, what is it that really matters? The Reverend Jan Eller Isaacs of Unity Church Unitarian in St. Paul shared a story from author and church member Cynthia Orange about the day that Cynthia's father's doctor told him that he had 2 weeks left to live. The doctor, Dr. Carl, had been her father's doctor for decades, and they had a close relationship. And Dr. Carl sat her dad down, looked him in the eyes, and told him the news. And he said, "Bob, I love you." After they left the office, Cynthia turned to her dad and asked him if he understood what the doctor had just told him. And Bob responded, "Dr. Carl said he loved me." What is it that really matters? Where does your deep gladness meet the world's deep need? And what detritus of excess might you be able to get rid of to focus on that? Terry Tempest Williams wrote, "Once upon a time, there was the simple understanding that to sing at dawn and to sing at dusk was to heal the world through joy. The birds still remember what we have forgotten, that this world is meant to be celebrated." May it be so.